But certainly not everything we're hearing is bad. A lot of good things that are in fact going on. I'll just share a couple of stories in regard to that. First of all, let me just say, I truly believe that our schools, K through 12 schools, our colleges, our universities planned for this, and they're doing a very, very good job. I talked this morning to Russia School Superintendent Steve Rose, who told me that their 7th to 12th grade is now gone remote, because they had a case where they had one student who tested positive, and that was due to community spread. As we've said before, schools are going to have cases. They're going to have positive cases because they're in the community and they reflect the community. And when there is widespread community spread, there's going to be spread within those schools. We should understand that when the data is published and when you see in the paper, like last night I saw on Dayton TV about Russia. That's why I called the superintendent this morning. We see about that. But what that really means is they're doing their job. They're following protocol. They're following their plan. So in this case, the Russia folks did a very, very good job, did exactly what they should do. And that's, I think, something we should all remember when we see that there is a case in a school. All that means is that school's focused on it, and they're doing the tracing, and they're doing what they need to do. Another example, in Youngstown, there are 2 Catholic high schools that use Youngstown State facilities for football games. Tickets for recent games were all pre-purchased, only by families and loved ones of players, cheerleaders, and band members. And the school sent daily reminders to parents about social distancing and masking. The Youngstown City Health District purchased large signs to reinforce masking and social distancing. And health department staff, including the health commissioner, the environmental health director, and others, worked during games, offering free masks to anyone who did not have one, and greeting fans with handouts and a message: welcome, mask on, game on. And please remember to social distance when in the stadium. They also reinforced the message in the stands and the concession areas. During games, schools used the scoreboard and made numerous announcements to remind fans about social distancing and mask wearing. One coach assigned players designated spots on the sidelines to ensure social distancing. So from both of these schools, as well as the public schools that they hosted, that was just really, really great news. And they followed the guidelines that they should follow. In Canton, a local football team had 2 players who were confirmed to have COVID-19. The players and coaches quickly isolated the players and notified the local health department. The health department quickly quarantined those who had been in close contact with the 2 positive cases. The outbreak, and this is something that is significant, the outbreak was limited to those 2 players with 5 people quarantined as a precaution. The school had already implemented the recommended guidelines for player practices involving social distancing, wearing of face coverings, and more. This is a great example of a school having a proper plan in place and executing that plan and cooperating with the local health officials to keep COVID-19 in check. Again, having a plan, carrying out the plan, and the cooperation can result in fewer people being quarantined. We've seen examples occasionally when there's not the cooperation, and you see a lot more people end up getting quarantined. The Toledo-Lucas County Health Department, like so many of our health departments, has worked with schools to send consistent messaging that students should not be attending mass gatherings, and so we thank them for that. In one instance, a party was attended by students, including athletes from 2 school districts. The school said they would halt athletics if those in attendance did not come forward. It was a clear message to everyone in the community. Holding or allowing parties is a liability to academics, athletics, and the spread of COVID-19. Another such party that had been planned and promoted on social media did not go forward. Life is full of trade-offs, and if we want our kids in school, which we do, we want our school playing athletics, which we do, we want them doing other extracurricular activities, then the way to do that is for us to slow this spread down. Speaking of schools, I want to turn to our education order. The education order will be issued in the next several days. Last week, I talked about issuing the order on reporting COVID-19 in our schools. As I said, we're still working on the exact language of the order, and we'll get it out shortly. When it's complete, we will, of course, post it on our coronavirus.ohio so everyone can read it. But let me reiterate a couple of the goals, or three of the goals that we have. Number one, if you have a child in school and your child has come into contact with someone who later tests positive for COVID within the relevant period of time, then you have every right to know that. And so the school should notify you and will notify you of that fact. Second, we want parents to know if there's anyone in their child's school building who has in fact tested positive. So again, not the specific names, of course, in any of these, but we want the schools to first, of course, contact the parents if they have come in contact with that child, and they can work then with the local health department. Second, though, if you're just in the school building itself, we want the school to notify the parents. And third, we want to notify the public once this has occurred. And so that will be a report that will be issued by the State Health Department once a week. Our goal is to be as open and as transparent as possible so families can be informed. If there are cases in a school, again, it doesn't mean that anybody did anything wrong. If they found the cases and are acting accordingly, it means they're doing the things that are right. You're going to see many cases you're going to see many times when there are cases in schools just because of what we're seeing in the community.